Did you know the planet that rules your rising sign, your chart ruler, is connected to a specific chakra in the body? Stick around because I am going over all 12 rising signs in this 2-part series on how to know if these chakras are out of alignment and what to do to balance them.
You're listening to The Holistic Ritual, a podcast for holistic-minded humans seeking mind, body, spirit integration. Hosted by Kamela Celeste, holistic health coach, meditation teacher, and astrologer. With over a decade of experience guiding transformation and whole person healing, you're invited into the practice of ritual and guided meditation for nervous system regulation and soul-aligned clarity. Blending ancient wisdom with science-backed practices, this space supports you in releasing, renewing, and reconnecting with your own inner guidance. Cultivating a sanctuary you can return to again and again as your own holistic ritual. Without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Hello, welcome back. I am your host, Kamela Celeste. This is the Holistic Ritual, and we are finally back with a video episode. So excited to be here with you. Before we get into the actual episode, I wanted to highlight a couple of things. As I started this show back in 2019, it has since evolved through the many different versions as I have evolved of the many different versions of myself. And for the last 2 years, since 2024, I have been probably the most consistent with this show as I possibly can be. There's been some breaks here and there. And so lately I've just been sitting with myself a lot just to think about the type of content that I want to create for you going forward. What do I want to keep making? What do I want to keep educating on and teaching? What do I want to share with you? From a personal standpoint, I have come a long way from doing fitness and aesthetic content and eating disorder recovery to transitioning to wellness and holistic health, and then now blending the two, holistic health and spirituality and astrology meditation, which I kind of think all of that collected together has brought me to this point with you to be able to integrate all of these wonderful things that I have learned. And so today I just really wanted to give a quick shout out to all of the listeners who have stayed with me through this, especially since 2019. So I wanted to shout out where you guys are listening from, the top 3 countries, and then the top 2 cities. And I'm just gonna look at some metrics over here just to make sure I get everything right. Over the last 10 episodes, 37% of you are tuning in from the US, which is where I am. So that is not really that surprising to me. 13% of you are tuning in from Germany. 9% of you are tuning in from Australia. The top city over the last 10 episodes has been Frankfurt, Germany. And then the next is Brisbane, Queensland. The show is reaching people on a global scale. And it is just so cool to know where all of you are tuning in from. And to know that I am resonating not just with Americans. Again, I just wanted to thank you so much for being here, and I will probably do a little shout out to the top countries, top cities on a biannual, maybe quarterly basis. I don't really know, but I do know it's important to acknowledge how far this show has expanded to all different corners of the globe, and I'm just really so happy and honored that you tune in and listen to me. Okay, moving on. We are in Leo season. Happy birthday to all of my Leos. And it's also a big astrological month. Today, I am recording this on August 1st. Upcoming, we have the solar eclipse in Leo on August 12th. And then we have a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces, closing out the month on August 27th, August 28th. Each of those eclipses I will be recording its very own episode on because there is just so much to cover for each of those. And I will break down for each and every rising sign what you can expect for each of those periods. Eclipse season is such a big time for unexpected changes, unexpected revelations. Solar eclipses are more so about outward change and the unexpected. And then lunar eclipses are more inward and introspective. And before we get into our chakra series here, I wanted to pull an affirmation card today. I know we usually do an oracle reading, and if you really love my oracle readings, please let me know in the comments or something, and I can obviously continue doing them. I just thought today's series, well, first of all, it's a series. It's a 2-part series. I'm using my Magical Messages deck today. So it is a very comprehensive 2-part series, which I'm really excited for. So I thought, because it is going to be so lengthy already, our ritual will be a little bit shorter for both episodes at the end, and then only pulling an affirmation card instead of a mini oracle reading, because I know those can get a little lengthy too. So our affirmation we have pulled is this cute little sunflower with a bumblebee fairy kind of like going in for a precious hug. Your affirmation for today: your energy is exclusive and expansive. Perfect for Leo season. Remember, it is a privilege to be in your presence. If that isn't just the most Leo season affirmation, I don't know what is, but it is a privilege to be in your presence, whether you are Leo or not. And this is the time to really expand your energy, expand into all of the things that you love, all the things that bring you joy. Think of Leo, it is ruled by the sun. Anything that wants to be illuminated right now is probably coming up. Hopefully that sparked something in you to keep being yourself and expanding your own energy out into everything that you are doing. This is a very fruitful month. I like to think about it in that way. And we have a lot of cosmic energy coming up. So ride those waves and just see where it takes you. Okay, that is that. Getting into our main event today. This is a mini series I did on TikTok, and it got such a great response on there that I thought I needed to do a full-blown episode, in-depth, deep dive on this. So firstly, there is a chakra associated with each of the chart rulers, but I wanted to kind of go over, start from the very beginning of what even is a chart ruler. So before we even get into the 6 signs that we'll be talking about today, I wanted to briefly go over this so that anybody can understand, even if you are brand new to astrology. Your rising sign is the sign that was coming up over the horizon the exact moment that you were born. Your sun sign, which you probably know, is your core identity. Your rising sign is more like the lens the rest of your birth chart gets filtered through. So it is like if you are, say, a Taurus sun, you see the world through the lens of your rising sign, which could be maybe you have a Leo rising. Those are your glasses, the glasses that you view the world out of. Your rising sign is the first impression. It's kind of like the operating system that runs in your background. And then with your rising sign, every sign has a ruling planet assigned to each of the signs. So if your rising sign, just for an example, is a house, the chart ruler is basically like the house manager. It governs what is going to get done and when. So that planet's energy plays such a huge role in your chart. So your ruling planet is like the main character of your chart, alongside your rising sign, which sets up your entire birth chart. And it's what we look to when we are looking for predictive things in astrology, or a lot of the times when you see the pop astrology on TikTok or Instagram of here's what's coming for your sign. All of those things you want to look at for your rising sign. That's how important it is to tell you what could be coming up for you over this next whatever period that the TikTok is talking about. The ruling planet's role extends so far that it is also felt in our bodies because it is connected to a specific chakra. And so when that chakra is regulated, you probably feel most like yourself and like you are just operating so smoothly. And when it's not regulated, it shows up in a very specific pattern. And so that is what we're talking about today. For this specific teaching, I personally practice modern rulership for each of the signs. But if you study a different form of astrology, that is totally okay. This is just a lens that I am personally working from. And everything today is going to be based on your rising sign. So if you don't know your rising sign, that means you just need your exact time of birth. So if you don't have that yet, today you can go off of your sun sign, but this will be the most accurate when you do have your rising sign. I also wanted to go over chakras in general. So let's talk about the history of chakras. Chakras come from ancient Hindu and Tantric traditions in South Asia, described in Sanskrit text, going back thousands of years. The 7 chakra system that we know today was shaped and refined over centuries, and it only became widely known in the Western world in the early 1900s through translated texts and then later through the yoga movement. It is a living spiritual tradition, not a wellness trend, and I just want to hold the respect for this ancient tradition. So, with paying respect to that, where did connecting chakras to the planets and planetary rulers even come from? This is a little bit more complicated. It doesn't necessarily have a clear founder or that clean of an origin story. It came together a little bit more loosely through Western astrologers and esoteric writers in the 20th century as astrology and the chakra system started to intersect. Today, there isn't necessarily one agreed upon version even now. You'll find different teachings and pairings, different planets to different chakras, depending on who you ask. So what I'm sharing today is my integrated version of this connection paired with dysregulation patterns and somatic practices that I have taught and built around. So starting off with our first rising sign, we have Aries rising. Aries rising, you are governed by the planet Mars. Mars has to deal with your root and your solar plexus chakras. The root chakra is about your foundation. It is safety, survival, feeling like you have a stable place to land in the world. The solar plexus is your personal power center, tied to identity, confidence, willpower. It's the sense of I can. Psychologically, the core need underneath Aries is to be independent, to develop real self-awareness. You came here wired to lead with instinct, to move first and think later. And that is not impulsiveness, which impulsivity can be part of an unhealed Aries for sure. But this is just your actual design. So when either of these centers destabilize, the root or the solar plexus, things start to get shaky. If we're talking about the root chakra specifically, safety starts to feel conditional and your power starts to turn inward than it is necessarily being experienced outward. So feeling this in the body, it can feel like your jaw clenching, digestive heat, or anger, but anger specifically that gets swallowed up instead of spoken. And eventually burnout that looks like exhaustion, but it's actually just your suppressed fire, as Aries is a fire sign. So for Aries specifically, you're wired to go, 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 always be doing something. So this fix for you isn't necessarily to calm down. It's giving your fire somewhere to go, giving your foundation something solid to stand on. Breath of fire and core work specifically for you are going to help move the fire out, to move the energy and help you to regulate your root and your solar plexus. Grounding your tailbone against the earth is going to be the most rooting for you. Putting your feet literally in the earth and grounding is going to help you, Aries, to really balance that root chakra. And then the solar plexus connecting to your identity. So who you really are without going 1,000 miles a minute, who you really are, what you really want before you take the leap. So taking that pause before you just go for it. That can be something that is really regulating for that solar plexus chakra as well. So once you start noticing these symptoms coming up, that is your cue that these specific chakras are likely dysregulated. And sometimes it can seem like, well, duh, because Aries wants to just go after it and think about being scared later. So the anchor for you is I am allowed to act without fear. Next, we have Leo rising, and Leo is governed by the sun. So your chakra is the solar plexus. The solar plexus governs your identity, your personal power, and your confidence. It is your will, it's your sense of who you are when no one is actually watching you. Your core need underneath, Leo, is creative expression and also genuine appreciation from others. The need to be seen. But a lot of the times it can come across as a performance, but not as a performance. The core need underneath for you is just actual genuine recognition for who you really are. And when that gets dimmed, whether it's an environment that didn't actually make room for you or a habit of shrinking to stay likable, the solar plexus is really what takes a hit here. But it rarely looks like sadness. It can show up as imposter syndrome, low motivation that doesn't actually match what you are capable of, or burnout that comes from trying to perform instead of living as your authentic self. Coming back to the center looks like core focused movement, actual sunlight on your skin. The sun is going to be so revitalizing for you. It is recharging for you. And creative expression that isn't for anyone else. It's not for an algorithm. It's not for a performance. It is just creativity for the sake of creating. The anchor for you here is I am safe to be seen in my full light. Next, we have Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius, you are ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet of luck, abundance, expansion. A Sagittarius rising, depending on specific birth charts, can be considered one of the luckiest rising signs. This is your sacral chakra and also your third eye chakra. The sacral chakra governs pleasure, emotion, creativity, connection. The third eye governs intuition, insight, the way you perceive what's coming before it even arrives. Your core need is to expand and explore your actual and your mental horizons. You are not built for small rooms or small conversations. You need to be reaching for something. But the catch here is that unchecked, an overload of expansion can dysregulate both of those centers. The sacral gets scattered, so pleasure turns into overindulgence or numbing with different vices. And the third eye begins to get foggy from moving too fast to actually even perceive anything. So that's when you get the scattered, anxious energy starting to show up, overcommitment, saying yes to 5 different things when you don't have the capacity for that, but you're trying to expand yourself to everything that seems exciting or interesting. But in doing that, none of them actually get your real attention, or you just spiritual bypass. So you are just chasing the next big idea instead of actually taking time to sit with yourself and feel what's actually here. So regulating looks like visualization with an actual end point in mind to settle your third eye, tapping into your intuition here. Pelvic release work to ground the sacral. Hip openers can also be very helpful for you. So things like frog pose or anything to open up the hips. And a gratitude practice that isn't performative. It's actually you sitting down to say, what are you grateful for that has brought you to this exact moment? The anchor for you here is it is safe to grow slowly. Next, we have Gemini and Virgo risings. You are both governed by Mercury. It is a planet of communication, technology, and though Mercury rules both of you, Gemini and Virgos, it shows up a little bit differently. And I am going to discuss this both as individuals. So for Gemini rising, mainly in the throat for you, which governs communication, truth, and self-expression. The core need for you is to communicate, to make mental contact with other people. You don't want to just discuss surface level things. You want to talk about deep intellectual things. Your mind moves fast and it needs somewhere to go with all of that mental energy. For Virgo risings, can be felt here more in the solar plexus and the gut. So this is tied to personal power and how effectively you are able to function. Your core need is literally to be able to function efficiently, to analyze, and to be discerning. So you process the world by refining it. When there is dysregulation, when the body is overloaded, the throat chakra can close up or your gut actually takes a hit. This can be racing thoughts, digestive imbalances, or any type of digestive issues, overanalyzing or overthinking, or just your voice that won't come out even though you have so much to say. And the way back to regulating these chakras is journaling to get all of the noise out of your head. Geminis, you have so many thoughts at all times of the day. Those need somewhere to go because not everyone in your life has the mental capacity to process everything like that with you. So giving them an outlet, somewhere to specifically go for you, humming to stimulate the vagus nerve, the mind to gut connection. That is your vagus nerve, connecting those two and helping you regulate all of the chakras along that meridian. Any type of stretching to really open up your neck, open up the chest, that is going to help you. And also things like gut supportive herbal teas, truth-telling rituals, writing down the truth that you want to so badly express, but you haven't yet done so yet. Writing it down and then burning it to release it, or just actually saying the thing you want to say instead of thinking about it in the shower for the 14th time of how that specific conversation should have gone. Just say the thing. Your anchor is my voice is valuable and my body knows what it needs. Aquarius rising, you are ruled by the planet of Uranus. Uranus is connected to the throat and the nervous system. The throat chakra governs communication, self-expression, and it is also paired with your broader nervous system. It's the part of you that regulates how much stimulation you can actually handle before it just becomes way too much for you. The core need for an Aquarius rising is to innovate, to be original, to create actual social change, rather than just fit inside the box of what already exists in our society. So when that wiring becomes overloaded, it's going to affect both systems. Your throat wants to speak something true and different, but the nervous system is already maxed out. So it shows up as anxiety, shoulder tension, neck tension, that wired but can't settle feeling, and just overstimulation with nowhere to decompress. So balancing the chakra in your nervous system might look like having a real digital detox to give the nervous system room to actually fully, completely reset, humming to ground it further, or just actually finally speaking your truth for once. Your anchor here is it is safe to be different and grounded. Now that you know which chakra is connected to you and how it affects your body, hopefully this gives you some tangible information for how to stop and reset yourself when you are noticing that you are dysregulated. And before we close, I of course have a beautiful ritual for you today. It is short and it is sweet, but it is nonetheless as effective. So I have my candle here today. And with this single ritual, while it is short, it is still powerful. So I'm going to light my candle so we get our flame going. I have my candle here, and I want you to think about one thing that you have been noticing lately that is affecting you, such as your anxiety, your overthinking, your impulsivity, your want to overcorrect and make sure everything is perfect. But maybe it is stopping you from actually getting done what you want to get done, creating what you want to create. Think about that. And once you have whatever has been ailing you at the moment, I want you to offer it to the fire. Speak it into the fire. Let it absorb it. And you can pause it here if you would like. If you need more time to think about it. Or if you just like to speak something a little bit longer into the fire. And whenever you're ready, you can press play again and rejoin me. And now that you have offered your ailment to the fire, it is ready to cleanse you. And so, as we blow out this flame, let the smoke be your renewal. Thank you so much for joining me today, for learning more about the chakras and chart rulers. Next time we will go through our next 6 signs. If your sign wasn't mentioned today, fear not, it is coming in part 2, and we will close that one out with a different ritual. In the meantime, I have been on Substack a lot more, and I would love it if you are a reader, or even if you're not a reader, there is a listen to each article option too, so you can always listen to anything that I've written, just like a podcast, just like this. I've been writing more frequently, more consistently, week to week. Sometimes the themes are correlated with whatever we have going on the podcast whenever that's released. And sometimes they are just one-off personal narrative essays of whatever I am feeling like I need to talk about at that time. So would love it if you joined me over there. And then I'm also on all of the other socials, as you might have found me on. So TikTok, Instagram. You're probably watching from YouTube or Spotify maybe. But again, thank you so much for listening. Until the next one, I'm your host, Kamela Celeste, signing off.